Hey everybody, it is Suzanne Worthley back with some more information. I just finished Jeff Mara's podcast. What a delightful man. Oh my gosh, I had such a great time and I so look forward to having that posted on his site. And if you find me there, I hope you find me here because there's a couple more things that I wanted to go over. Generally speaking, Jeff and I were talking about my new book. It's called Confident Empath, a guide to multidimensional empathing and energetic protection. It looks like this. And you're going to find that on my website, on Amazon, on Barnes and Noble, you name it. Just look for S. Worthley. That's WORTHLEY.com. You can find it just about anywhere. But I wanted to actually go over one list that I didn't get a chance to do on Jeff's podcast, and that's the qualities of an empath. Because I think it's going to be really cool for you to possibly think about, gosh, how many of these do I actually have? And it's in the book, but I'm just going to kind of go through them. The biggest one that I found about myself is this sense of inner knowing. It's the sense that it's a cognitive. It's almost like a psychic skill of claircognitive. And I have always had this, and I'm going to tell you the honest truth. Sometimes it makes it seem like I come across a little arrogant or knowy about things, but you do. An empath just knows some of this stuff in a really visceral way. So this might be you. It's just an inner knowing about things. You kind of want the truth, and you find the truth within yourself and with outside of yourself as well. So a big one, however, for my client base is feeling overwhelmed, feeling drained, especially in public spaces and places that have lots and lots of people. I was just out the other night at a place that was playing loud music and a lot of people, and my nerves were almost just fried. This is a really, really typical thing for an empath because you're basically sponging and taking everybody's energy, especially when it's in that kind of a situation. So you'll find oftentimes that the empath is frayed with their nerves, they're anxious. Really big things for me is noise and smell and loud talking and things like ticking clocks, or inevitably I drive my family, especially my husband, crazy in the car because I'm like, what's that ticking? What's that rattling? So those are really, really typical for an empath. It's that the actual senses themselves are super, super heightened. A lot of empaths say that they pick up on the physical and emotional symptoms of another. So, caregivers that are empaths oftentimes have a really difficult time if they're doing caregiving or hospice or taking care of an elderly. Many, many times you'll take on their emotional state, but also their physical state. I think I even detail in the book that it's an amazing statistic on how many oncologists actually die in human form from cancer because they are empathing each of their clients all day long. So this is a real transference of energy in terms of physical as well as emotional. A biggie is a fear of being engulfed in intimate relationships. It's this inner fear of I'm going to lose myself, okay, and I want to be intimate, but I'm just not sure I want to let that person fully in. So it's this engulfed or this overwhelmed feeling, okay. Huge indicator red flag for an empath is hates conflict, does not like discord, will walk away from it and avoid it in any way, shape, or form if they can. And many adult empaths were the children that were learning to walk on eggshells or not when they were kids. So this is a biggie, okay? Really, really hates conflict. Hates violence on TV, does not want to watch the news, does not want to hear about the natural disasters, the impending war, doesn't even like movies or video games. I absolutely, this is a huge one for me. I'm very, very particular about what I watch on television and what I put into my head in terms of reading and materials, etc. So I'm very, very careful about that. Feel weighted down, period, which, by the way, for many empaths also puts on extra weight. Extra weight, especially around the middle part of the body, is a protection mechanism for many empaths. So we're protecting that solar plexus, that heart, and that belly. And this will put in almost like an inner tube of weight, sadly, for many empaths because we, in a subconscious way, are trying to protect ourselves or keep us separate from the actual impending energy. So, but feeling weighed down, period. Now, oftentimes when I have a client come in that's an empath, they'll say, I just feel stuck. I just feel weight. I just feel heaviness. And then when they're done with their energy session, they pop off of my healing table and they're like, oh my God, I'm so light, because when we transfer that energy back out of their field, they can really, really feel the difference. So feeling like there's a blanket on me, a shawl on me, a backpack on me, these are really big indicators. Typical empaths overschedule everything. They make lists and then they make lists for their lists, and they're never, never on time, and they are always overscheduling and trying to stuff in one more thing. But almost all of that schedule is for everybody else. And they never, never, never get to the schedule for themselves because they put everyone and everything first. And this causes a lot of times an underlying, and sometimes not even aware, sense of resentment. I'm doing everything for everybody else, and who's doing anything for me? But am I going to let them do anything for me? Because I can do it faster and better anyway. I was classic on this one. I mean, classic on this one. I can do it faster and better, so why am I going to wait for you? And then the resentment. God, nobody helps me. It's just a loop pattern that empaths are really, really classic at. Okay. The empath typically will articulate, oh my God, everyone tells me their problems. Everybody at work comes to me. Everybody who stops me in the grocery store and tells me their whole entire life. I'm sitting at a bar and I know everything about everybody. This is the energy that the empath will present to strangers. And so, and not just strangers, friends and family too, but oftentimes people we don't even know. They just told me their whole life story. And now I have to carry that. Now I have to worry about it. And that's how this process starts to happen. So this is not an effective way to work. You're going to learn if you read the book. They do not like routine. Empaths like to change it up. They like to have fresh energy. The energy feels stale if I do the same thing, same thing, same thing. They like freedom. They like travel. They like to mix it up. They like to find new sources of energy because, again, everything is energy. And plants and animals are really something that the empath oftentimes will find pleasure in, but also can empath. I can take on the energy of the animal kingdom, the sadness. I can take on the energy of the trees or the plants. I can take on the vegetables and how we're, killing them with chemicals, et cetera, et cetera. So they're really, really finding favor with those things, and yet it can be very difficult for them. And then lastly, an empath oftentimes just likes to daydream. They kind of just go off and they kind of just go here. This is another protection technique. They like to just sort of float out of their body. So it is important for a trained and confident empath to stay in the human body, to stay grounded in the planetary energy, and to keep that auric bubble, that gas tank, contained and in good shape. This comes first. And the belief system of most empaths is, oh my God, I can't do that. I have to help everybody else because that's how it shows that I'm nice. I can't come first because that means I'm selfish. And so when we start to change these sort of anchored belief systems that are very limiting, the actual empath energy starts to change. So again, check out Jeff Mara's podcast. We just recorded it today. I believe it comes up tomorrow, which would be the 27th, I think. Or you can find me on his feed at any time. I'm sure we talked fully about empaths the entire time. Lots and lots of great information, but I just wanted to throw the list out to you. And keep watching and look for us on our own podcast, Energy Unleashed, and on Instagram. And again, you can find me at sworthley.com at any time. And until next, everybody, cosmic hugs.